One of the best feelings in golf is hitting a crisp and compressed iron shot. Now, it is also crucial to help you shoot lower scores. Good iron play is going to mean you're going to hit more greens, which means you're going to shoot lower scores and beat your buddies. Now, in today's video, I'm going to show you the easiest iron swing, and I'm going to show you the system I've built to help anybody on the planet learn how to hit an iron shots in just 4 steps. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, the whole point about this video is to make it easy. So the first thing I want you to do, and this is going to accelerate your learning, is to draw the diagram that I have on the ground. Now, I have just used powdered foot spray. So when you spray powdered foot spray, after a little bit of time, it sets into this beautiful white color, and the great thing is it just washes away. Now, I've drawn 4 lines here. The first line is an arrow that's just pointing to where I want the ball to go, the target. The second line is a really important line, and it is the sternum line. So this is going to go right underneath the center of my chest. Now, for this video, we're going to put the golf ball every single time on that sternum line where it meets the target line right there. The third line is the left shoulder line. So this is right underneath the left shoulder. And the fourth line is a diagonal line, which is going to be our shaft lean line. Now, I'm going to explain what all 4 of these mean as we go through the video, but it's really important that we get this concept, this grid on the ground, because it helps us with speeding up the learning process. Now, in terms of the key concept when it comes to an iron shot, what are we looking to see? The first thing we're looking to see is that when we come down, we're going to hit the ball first and then the ground second. So if we bring this grid back in, we are looking to hit the ground somewhere in between these 2 lines. That's a nice little channel for us to picture where we're trying to hit the ground. Now let's get into level 1, which is understanding the fundamentals. So when it comes to learning these fundamentals, the first thing we've got to do is put our hands on the club correctly. Now, as you can see, I'm not holding a golf club. I am holding an alignment stick. If you don't have an alignment stick, just go grab something that's really, really thin. And the reason for that is if I step back into this zone, what we notice is when we grab something like an alignment stick and we grip it, it automatically helps us achieve 2 crucial things that we need in a good grip. Number 1, it helps us grip it more towards the fingers, so it's not in the palm. This is crucial because it allows us to generate leverage. And number 2, it gets the heel pad of the left hand on top of the alignment stick or on top of the grip. Now, when I do that, you can also see it gives me a neutralish to slightly stronger grip, which is great. A little bit of cup there. And then if I bring the trail hand on, you can see again, it forces me to grip it in the fingers. So straight away now, when I grip this club, I'm gripping it in the fingers. This allows me to move this alignment stick at some speed. So if you're unsure about your grip, you feel like it's off, and a lot of amateurs have a poor grip, and it's crucial for club face control and speed, then grab an alignment stick first, feel what it feels like to grip it in the fingers. You'll also feel the heel pad more on top on the left hand, and you'll be able to get your right hand more on top of your left thumb, just like that. So that's an awesome little exercise to help you with the grip. Now from there, here's the system I want you to do. I want you to replicate what you've just done there with your left hand on the club. So you're going to grip it left hand first. So grip it in the fingers, heel pad on top. Now, as you're gripping this, I want you to make sure the toe of the club is straight up in the sky, just like so. Now from there, hold the left arm out in one straight line with the golf club, and you're going to position the center of your chest right over this middle line. And as a byproduct, you'll also see your left shoulder is roughly over that lead line. Throw a hand behind the back, and all I want you to do here is lock your legs out and then just bend forwards until the club touches that intersection past the golf ball, so underneath the left shoulder. Now from there, unlock your legs. Now in this position, we've formed the foundation of an awesome setup. So having the left arm and the club in one straight line with the face square and a good grip is our anchor point of our swing. Now, if we are able to return it back to this point, that therefore means that at impact, we would have had to have had shaft lean. So from there, what I then want you to do is lift it up, maintain that left arm and the club in one straight line, and bring it behind the ball. Now, this is where the diagonal line comes in, because as I look down here, it is perfectly in line with that diagonal line. So it gives me just a little bit of a reference point. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly, it's just there as a guide for us. Now, from there, what I want you to do is take your trail hand, feel like it comes slightly from the inside, you grip it in the fingers, and you cover up that right thumb. So what you can see here is I've positioned the golf ball underneath the sternum. I've got a great setup position, great left arm and the club in one straight line structure, right arm's in a great spot, and my grip's in a great spot. Shoulder alignment's great, everything's great, everything's great. Now also what you'll notice is the face is slightly open with that shaft lean. what I'm setting you up here is to hit a small draw. Face being slightly open allows us to start the ball to the right. The shaft lean allows us to get our path going a little bit more to the right as well. And that's very much our starting setup position. Now really learn to master that, because if we can master that, we're going to start to learn what it feels like to generate speed with our wrists. We're also going to be able to control the club face, and with our shoulders and forearms, everything being in a good position. So you can see from the downline view when I'm setting up here, my right arm's a little softer, has a little bit of bend, left arm sits slightly higher. This allows this club to swing on a beautiful plane from the inside. Now, that's the boring stuff over and done with, fantastic. Now we can actually work on building this swing, and trust me, this system is going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. Okay, so let's now go into stage 2. We've done the setup, we've got our fundamentals right. Now we need to start swinging this golf club. We need to move at speed. Moving at speed is crucial, because moving at speed allows us to use our big muscles, it forces us to use them, and it gets the club falling into really good positions naturally. We're not trying to guide it into positions, we're trying to let momentum take over and let our inner athlete come out. However, we're going to start with our feet together. Why are we going to start with our feet together? This is going to teach us what it feels like, first and foremost, to move in what we class as a centered position. So many amateurs, when they go into their wide stance, they start to shift off the ball, they might stand up, they might reverse pivot, but when you have your feet together, it's very, very difficult to not actually just have a good pivot. You can see if I told you just to turn to the top, you're going to be in a pretty decent position right there. And that is why we're starting with our feet together. The second reason is because when we do what we're about to do, it forces you to learn how to synchronize your arms up with your upper body, which is a crucial element of hitting the ball consistently. So I'm going to get rid of the golf ball for now, because we're going to do a couple of rehearsal swings. Feet together, and then you're going to grip the club just above the club head. So we got the butt end of the grip pointing down to that line right there. Now in this position here, I can still see that shaft lean. The shaft's still got a little bit of lean, but here's your key swing thought. I want you to make 2 swooshes in your golf swing. So if I just do an example here, you can hear there was a swoosh in the backswing and a swoosh in the downswing. Now we're going to get a little bit more specific on the placements of this. We want to see the swoosh happen roughly around anywhere from waist high to chest high. Anywhere in this sort of zone right here is going to be perfect. That's going to mean you're going to be taking the club back with some speed. You can see it gives you a good length for the backswing. It creates an actual wrist set if you've got a good grip, and it gets the club swinging on plane. The second one is a swoosh at the second line here, so at the left shoulder line. This line here is where I want that swoosh to be. If you're a golfer who, number one, doesn't create any swoosh, you're not going to hit the ball far at all. You're not creating any speed. Or number two, this is the most common one, you create a swoosh, but it is too early. That means you're casting and throwing your angles out. So if you struggle with generating shaft lean, if you struggle with compression, or if you just struggle with creating a good impact position in general with any sort of consistency, then you really need to focus on a swoosh in the backswing, but key is a swoosh at this second point right here. Not at the sternum line, at the left shoulder line. And I want you to do this a couple times. So go back and forth. So go swish, 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 swish. Right, enough talking. Let's now get to hitting some practice swings. Feet together, sternum on this line. Your goal now is to hit the ground in between these two lines right here. So right in this section here. Feet together, grip it normally, try and hit the line right there. Swish, swish. And if I show you that, you can see that's pretty much started right around there, the divot. So I hit the ground after the sternum line. Now that is going to mean that I would have got that ball and then ground contact. So if I then place a ball on a little tee just to make sure that I'm in the right spot so it doesn't roll, and then I do this exercise again, I would do that drill as many times as you need to get that consistency of ground contact. Then from there, I would walk in, feet together, and then what I want you to do is just hit a shot like this. Imagine you're making a swish in the backswing and a swish after the ball at this second line. Here's what it would look like. And you can see there, my divot started here. So the ball was there where my middle finger is, and the divot started right here. So it started after the ball, which is great, which meant I got that ball then ground contact. That is stage two. I want you to do that as long as it takes for you to get some sort of consistency. This is going to teach you how to get your arms in front of you, how to release the club, how to do a whole bunch of amazing things. Now we're going to take it to stage 3. So like I said, as we progress through these stages, we're going to make it a little bit harder. So the way we're making it harder in stage 3 is we are now no longer going feet together. We are now going to go feet shoulder width apart for an iron. So again, we're going same setup. So if you want to go through that routine every single time, you're going to bend over and then you're going to go club behind the ball. So we're going to go same setup position and we're going to start hitting shots there. But before we do so, we've got to start to, again, bring it back into let's just rep out some good movements with the club flipped over. But on this one, I'm going to add in one extra little bit. When we are doing this motion, I really want you to pay attention to where your weight needs to be at impact in order to have the swoosh at this second line. So I'm going to go in this position here, swoosh backswing, swoosh downswing. Now if I freeze here, notice how my weight is on my left leg. Weight plays a huge role in where we hit the ground. If you're a golfer when doing this and you keep hitting the ground behind, you're doing one of two things. Number one, you are either throwing your angles out too early, in which case your swoosh is not late enough, so you're not swooshing at this point here past the ball. So you need to delay that swoosh, you need to pull harder and throw later. The second thing could be that as you're coming down, your weight is on your back foot. So I want you to feel like you can get a little bit of that shift on the way down. So just flip the club over, do some swings, sternum on that middle line, left shoulder on the lead line, and just go swoosh, swoosh. And feel what it feels like to get that weight shifting to your lead side. Get that swoosh after the ball. So here, swoosh, swoosh. So if I do it here, I'm in a good position. Right, swoosh, swoosh. And you can see there, I'm just going to do one for the speed of the video. You can see there again, the back of the divot is right there, but my sternum line where the ball would be is right there. So if I then step into the ball, again, on this one, I'm going to go through my system, grip it in the fingers, heel pad on top. Amazing. Stand nice and tall, toe of the club straight up to the sky, left arm in one straight line. I'm going to lock my legs out, bend forwards till that touches the ground right there. Then from there, unlock my legs, bring that behind the ball, trail arm in. Now from here, swoosh in the backswing, swoosh after the golf ball, feeling like it's somewhere on this lead line underneath the left shoulder. Now let's give it a hit and let's see what happens. And again, really nice strike. You can see, look, my weight went all the way through. And in this situation, I'm starting to actually feel that weight shift. Now, one of the really interesting things, and this is what I've learned giving this to a lot of clients, is when golfers, if I was just to go like sort of here where there's nothing on the ground, when golfers are hitting shots here, because there's nothing on the ground, it's a bit sort of overwhelming. Like there's nothing really to aim at. So this is why I love the grid, because when I'm doing these swings in the back of my mind, I'm going, right, I'm trying to feel like I hit the ground right on this point here, because that's the left shoulder where it meets the target line. So it's a good sort of hand width past the ball that I'm hitting. So that gets my intent of throwing the club head past where the golf ball is to this point here. Hence why we also, when we do our posture, we come down into this position first. Famous golfer that did this was Mo Norman, one of the straightest hitters of all time, one of the best golfers of all time. So for phase 4, we're going to use a really simple analogy. If you imagine a sat-nav, sat-navs are amazing. They get you anywhere in the world that you want to go. You've got to have two things though. You've got to have a starting location, which is our setup, and that's what we've been working really hard on. But we've also got to have a destination. Now, so much of coaching is about the backswing, the transition, the downswing, impact, but not a lot is on the destination. And I see it as like connecting two dots. If you get a really good setup position and you master a really good follow through, all you got to do is connect the dots, and chances are you're going to have a pretty darn good golf swing. We're not looking for perfection here. We're just looking to go out, and this is the beautiful Turnberry Resort here in Miami. You just want to go out and you just want to hit some greens. You want to play good golf. You want to enjoy the sun, have a few beers if that's your vibe, and just have a good time. And that's what we're looking to do here. So let me show you how I like to teach connecting the dots. So remember, everything we've sort of done so far when it comes to the setup and preset and everything has been to do with the left side. So nothing's going to change here. So what you got to do in this position to learn what it feels like to get into a good spot, take the golf club and place it into your lead hip. Then from there, grip down, grip down. So you can see in this position, all of this is still over that lead line where we start. Now from here, I want you to turn to your follow through position, but I want you to keep your head inside, so behind this lead line right here, so somewhere sort of in between this zone or this line right here. We just don't want it to go to that line there. And I want you to push your belt buckle towards the target, just like so right there. Now, what do you notice about this position? When I push my hips towards the target, my weight is on my left foot. So I've got about 80 to 90% of my weight on my left foot. Number two, you can see my head's back. Now, in reality, I wouldn't still be looking at the ball here. My head would have started to turn, but I'm in this position to where my chest is pointing up to the sky slightly. And if I extend my arms out, you can see this is that beautiful wide release position. And I've got great rotation as well. What so many golfers look like is they look like this. Now, why do they look like this? Well, number one, they're not generating a loud enough swoosh. So the actual physical pulling and throwing element will create momentum that'll pull your body along. But number two is they also don't know what they're trying to achieve in terms of this position. So getting you into a great spot here, sort of right arm parallel to the ground, is going to be an awesome reference guide. Not awful, awesome reference guide. So how do we then start to implement this into the swing? Well, what we're actually going to do is go back to level 2 and just quickly run through a little bit of a process that's going to help us hit that position. Now, everything that we do, we are now going to finish at right arm parallel to the ground in the follow through. For a right-handed golfer, left-hander, just flip it around, left arm parallel to the ground. So now we're going to go back to feet together, club swoosh first, swoosh in the backswing, swoosh at the second line, and then we're going to stop right arm parallel to the ground. Ready? Swish, swish, stop. So you can see here, it gets me in that really good position, chest turned, hips are turned. Awesome. So do that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times if you want. Then go feet together, try and make the divot, stop at right arm parallel. And you can see when I'm doing that, my right shoulder is still basically at this line, this sternum line right here. So this will help you in terms of releasing it down to the ground, especially if you're the golfer who's struggling to get ground contact. This is crucial. You don't just want to fire that right shoulder open. Again, also, if you're a slicer, you're somebody who swings over the top, you'll be firing that right shoulder open. So if you do a swing, feet together, feeling like you stop at right arm parallel, but that right shoulder is still basically somewhere over or somewhere in this zone or over this sternum line, it's going to help you control your path. So do it again. Swish, swish, stop. You can see, look, it gets me in a really good position there. You can see right there, gets me in an awesome follow through position. And if I now go to the third phase, but implementing this follow through aspect, I'm going to flip the club over, go back to a wider stance, sternum still over that center point line, make a swish in the backswing, swish in the downswing after the ball, and stop at right arm parallel, shoulder still feeling over the ball. So do that a few times. Then from there, flip the club over, do a rehearsal swing, trying to hit the ground somewhere in this zone, stopping at right arm parallel, swish, swish, and you can see gets me in a really good position there. Low point was roughly, or hit the ground roughly there, meaning I hit after the line. I can then hit a shot with that feeling. Let's see what this one looks like. And you can see that gets me in a really awesome position there, starting to really generate some speed. And to be honest, that is level 4 as well. So level 4 is just learning that follow through position. Now, to finish up this video, what I would then say is when you're practicing this, go through this system basically every time you practice. Draw these lines on the ground and really get methodical at make sure level 1's right, make sure level 2's right, make sure level 3's right, and then level 4, which is the follow through. So, you know, if I'm going through this, I'm going to draw this on the ground. It's my great sort of template. You'll see a lot of tour pros do things like this. They'll put alignment sticks down. They're just creating that template there. If you have a mat at home that you hit off, just draw this on the mat. Honestly, it just saves so much time having to redraw it every single time, and it's your sort of go-to template when it comes to hitting shots. Now, if you are going to do something like a long iron, what would you then do? You would essentially just move the ball. So if this is my setup position here, this ball here for a 7-iron that I have, but I wanted to hit a 4-iron or a hybrid, I would keep my setup exactly the same. The only thing I would do is move the ball a little bit further forwards, so it's more underneath my left ear, so a little bit further forwards. And then from there, I'd obviously have a little bit less shaft lean, but it would still look a little bit kind of close to matching that line right there. So that's how you would adjust it for a long iron, and then you just do the same principles. You go through the same system, trying to hit in between this zone, but obviously the ball's going to be there, so you might need to sort of aim a little bit more to hitting closer to this lead line. But just keep training that low point, keep going through that system. The key thing is to make it dynamic. What we don't want to do is get too positional in the golf swing. The best players in the world move fast. You know, the average length the backswing takes on the PGA Tour is 2/3 of a second. When I'm measuring most amateurs, very, very few of them take less than a second to complete their backswing. They're taking more than a second. So the key is working through this with speed, but again, always go through the routines. If you're struggling, go through the routine. Great, get into that position, then just learn how to hit a golf shot. Go back to feet together. It's one of my all-time favorite drills. And then from there, you'll start to see everything fall into place a lot more. And if you have enjoyed today's video, please give the video a like and the channel a subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.